I did a video on the offset cone weave where the columns were 24 feet apart. Now in this video, the column is going to be 3 feet apart, which is going to cause for a little quicker handlebar transitions. Now I'm going to give you 9 tips to successfully complete this exercise. Oh, and for my Harley riders, I'm going to do this demo on the Harley. So hang tight. Hey guys, I'm Paul the Motor Guy, and welcome to my channel, where I pass on riding tips, practice drills, and defensive riding strategies. Now I'm a rider coach, a motorcycle sergeant, and owner and instructor at Pro Rider Central Texas. Now let's talk about these 9 tips for completing this exercise. Now I've done videos covering each of these tips in more detail, so be sure to go check it out after this video. I'm going to leave the link in the description below. Now tip number 1 is the friction zone. Now, just like any other slow speed exercise, you need to be in the friction zone all the way through this exercise. If you try to coast, it will make it hard to turn the handlebars. Tip number 2 is your throttle or your RPMs. Now, you need to have constant RPMs anywhere from 1200 to 1500, but this does not have to be exact. You just don't want to auto through the exercise. Now, the sensation that you want is that the motorcycle is pulling you around the turn, you're not coasting. Now I'm going to show my speedometer and my tachometer while I'm riding this exercise. And you will see that I'm around or slightly above 2000 RPMs, which is okay. Now tip number 3 is your head turn and eye movement. Do not look at the cones or at the ground when you're going through this exercise. If you look at the cones, you will tend to run over them. And if you look down at the ground, you will lose track of where you are in the exercise, which will make it very difficult to complete it. So you want to keep your head and eyes up, looking one step ahead of where you are. So when the motorcycle is here, you want to already be looking here. Now, tip number 4 is counterweighting. Now, you want to use the counterweighting technique when you're doing this exercise, which is you keep your body upright, allowing the motorcycle to lean underneath you. Now, since there's only 3 feet between the column of cones, you don't have a lot of time for a lot of hip movement. Now, tip number 5 is feathering the rear brake. Now, you want to use the rear brake to control your speed. Remember, you're trying to slow the motorcycle down, not stop it. So if you find yourself picking up speed and you need to slow down, you want to drag the rear brake, not stomp on it. Now, tip number 6 is handlebar turn. Now, you want to use a combination of turning the handlebars and leaning the motorcycle to negotiate around the cones. Tip number 7 is speed. Now, your speed should be anywhere around 8 to 10 miles per hour. Now, this makes the motorcycle feel more stable. Now, if you ever feel like you're balancing the motorcycle, you're going too slow. Let out a little bit more clutch. Tip number 8 is entering the exercise. Now, if you watch my videos, you've heard me say on several occasions, use all your space. Well, this also applies for this exercise. As you enter the exercise, you want to make your first turn as close to the first cone as possible. This will give you time to make your handlebar transitions. The closer you are to this cone when you enter the exercise, you give up space, and it compounds itself further down the exercise. Now, tip number 9 is the back tire will always track inside the front tire. So if I turn the handlebars to the right, the back wheel will track inside, and if I turn the handlebars to the left, the back wheel will track inside. Now, the more you turn the handlebars, the more the back wheel is going to track inside. To demonstrate this, I wet the pavement to make it easier for you to see the tire tracks. In this photo, you see 2 wheel tracks. The wheel track on the left is from the front tire, and the wheel track on the right is from the back tire. Now, if you look closely, you can see that the track on the right ends at the back tire. So this means that if your front tire is too close to the cone that you're weaving around, you will miss it with your front tire, but you will run over with your back tire. Or if you're using taller cones, you will hit the cones with your saddlebags. So to fix this, you need to hold the handlebars a little bit longer to get a little further outside the cone before you weave around it. Now this will leave room for your back tire to go around the cone. So now let's talk about how to do this exercise. Now when you're riding this exercise, you want to start on the right side of the first cone and then the left side of the second cone and so on until you weave past all the cones. For my demo, the cones will be 15 feet apart with every other cone offset 3 feet. Now one column will have 4 cones and the other column will have 3 cones. So let's go ahead out and ride this thing. I recommend you checking out this video I did on the offset cone weave where there's more space between the columns. Now this is going to change how you do this exercise. Now I hope you got value from this video. If so, hit that like button. Now, until next time, practice, 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 and ride safe.